that somebody's actually been kind of like not leaving their house, actually, is what I'm saying. It's like it's somebody that's working from home, and they're doing a great job. They're just saying you're not getting out enough, and maybe it's a good thing to like think about getting out a little bit, especially if you're not getting like enough, I don't know, just steps in your day. Maybe get yourself a little Fitbit. They make really cool ones now too. They can even track how you're sleeping, Aries. And let you know which days you're more thrown than others, so you can kind of go back in time and see what things are setting you wrong, and setting you right. And sometimes that's a good way to figure shit out, right? But they're just saying, you might not be getting out enough, and it's like, you're just like hunkered down in your house, and I just see you like working and like kind of cramped in front of your computer, and I'm leaning like this a lot too, and that's not good. Anytime I do that, I start getting crampy too, and so I think I might be like posturing like you, and they're just saying you might want to like get out of the house, get a Fitbit, go burn some of that chi in like an effective way, and that's really what the Explore Your Options is all about. It's like you've been in the house too much, and so like go outside and kind of circulate a little bit. So, and they said if you have go for a nice drive and just like let the wind be in your hair, if you've got good weather somewhere. I saw somebody turning down their the sunroof, the moonroof in their car. Let's see what the book says. On firm foundations, mental realm, aka Four of Pentacles. This card denotes that you have already or are currently working toward establishing a solid foundation in the material world. Using good judgment and heeding lessons from the past concerning financial matters will assist you in laying a firm groundwork. By doing so, security will have a better chance of building in the future. The material power that's now around you can either be an advantage or a disadvantage depending on how you respond to it. Don't let your current position determine who you are. Remember to give back and prime the pump of prosperity, for true spiritual and material wealth is as much about giving as it is receiving. Seek proper investment advice and realize that you don't have to hold on to your possessions too tightly. Just be flexible and allow things to continue to flow. And that's what it is. You're not flowing in some cases. And so like they're just saying like maybe that's why some of y'all are showing up like this. Like you realize you've been like clutching so tight to all these like dreams and hopes and needs and like ambitions, and some of y'all, I'm just gonna say it and don't get upset, okay? If you don't like this talk, you're on the wrong channel or you're too young, all right? But if you are just like horny, I'm hearing, and like being afraid about sharing that part of yourself with somebody else, and it's like you need to figure out another way to channel your energy. It's okay if you're celibate, abstinent, asexual, whatever it is that you do. But if you have the needs in your body is like having nervous tension show up where you're like angry and you're like, in some cases, I'm just hearing like sort of like bitchy with people. It's just because you're feeling repressed, and it's like you have energy that you want to give, and maybe not to somebody else, but even to yourself, and it's not being expressed. You're like holding on too tight. And actually, this card in this deck also kind of looks similar. Like this person here is like clutching onto this stuff, and this card in that deck, it's like it's a person that's got something with them. It's a coin in that picture, and they're like holding it, and it's like, my pinnacle, bitches, and it's like they're not like open, they're just closed. And like here, archetype wise, this prince looks like they have something beautiful, and it's like concealed, right? So in some cases it's like you withholding from yourself, and I'm hearing it has to do with your needs and that you don't like to talk about it. And that's why they show this person with a freaking red noose around their neck. that's okay. Maybe it's a scarf here. I'm seeing a person with a noose around their neck. It's like their base needs are choking them. Maybe they're choking themselves, because that's a really hard grip that person has there. And that's the wrong way to be handling that energy, is what I'm being told. That's why your guides threw the card. So you're going to know if that's for you. That's pretty specific. It's just, it's okay to acknowledge the fact. There were a lot of notes about this early when I was doing the shuffle for all the fire tribes. I almost said air tribes. You might be dealing with an air person. You might have someone with air element, or have it in your own chart. That might be Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising. Somebody that acts like that. But okay, they're saying it's just really about giving yourself a slightly different way of perceiving the stuff that you've just like kind of taken for granted about your modus operandi, your mode of operating. And so, a lot of this stuff is just conditioning, and they're saying that you haven't looked up enough to pay attention to how much you've developed and like how awesome you've really become through a lot of the things that were really hard that you've worked through. And it's like, it's not necessarily like you're trying to omit your needs. It's like you never really were like, you weren't trained or conditioned to, or you never had the space available to kind of like think about that. And so it's like some of this stuff, you're like, holy shit, I wish I could go retroactive and like, do things a little different. And so, some of it's that for some of you, and it's just going to make you treat yourself better, because now you realize you've kind of like, this is the rite of the passage. You've gotten through your 12-step program or whatever it is that you're doing, however that applies to you. It doesn't have to be a real 12-step program. It just be like, what the steps you've graduated from in your own world, for some of y'all it is 12-step though. I hear somebody is like turning their back on some addictions and just like turning over a new leaf. And it's opening up their world. Other people though, it's like, now's the time where you're realizing, holy shit, some of this stuff hasn't been paying off, and I'm hurting. I'm tired of the crap. I want to drop it. And you know what? I need to make this new change, and I've got to say something. I got some things to get off my chest. I'm tired of hiding things. I want to come clean. I'm not turning my back on myself. Getting ready to look up at this really big thing that's in front of me that maybe I wasn't willing to look at before, but this person's head is starting to look up. They're still kind of questioning like what injured them before and who stabbed them in the freaking back while they were like doing that, maybe busting their hump. I'm hearing some of y'all got cheated on. And that's what that's about. And, it's just like now just realizing, you know what? Those needs that I was like afraid to deal with because I had a really good reason, it's a different time now. And I just see that person kind of like thinking about it, having the Mercury retrograde moment, looking back on the past. But just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to look over there, and they've got this big mountain in front of them, and there's like some hope there. And, it's like calling to them. So how freaking awesome is that? It's like, it's really awesome. It's awesome. This is the biggest challenge I'm seeing here, honestly, Aries, is you. You are your own biggest challenge here, because they're just saying that the only thing that you can really get wrong here is like strangleholding. And I'm hearing for most of y'all, it's just yourself. Don't let this like crazy planetary cosmic conditions like fuck up your mojo, because some of y'all have been just kicking ass and taking names, and you're looking great. So be nice to yourself, okay? And let's see what calling in your soulmate has to say. Because I know for some of y'all, it's absolutely romantic right now. And I'm hearing some of y'all, you are having great sex. It's like, some of you, it's been after a really long time. And it's just like, you are just, this isn't like the extreme version of it in the other way. It's the extreme version of a different way where it's like, I'm really just seeing like somebody you're very attracted to that might be in really good shape. They know how to keep up with you, and you are just like really wrapped up in it. However, wrapped up might express itself for you. And in some cases, it's very physical. And I'm just being told, God bless you, enjoy it. And take precautions if you need to, because if it's a multiple partner situation, or if your partner has been exploring their options, and I'm seeing a lot of like poly stuff. I've been getting a lot of like, I think polyamorous viewers or people that are exploring that. And I think, whatever makes your bum hum is y'all's business, and just do you in a way that's uplifting you, and making sure that as long as you're doing these things, that they're serving you properly, and that you're taking the right precautions too, especially if there are multiple people, because there's a lot of red here. And I heard chlamydia, and so somebody might be dealing with a partner that's got a chlamydia issue, or you're wondering if you have chlamydia. And if you're wondering if you have chlamydia, they say you might. And so you're going to know if that's you. I'm not predicting this. I'm not telling you, hey, you got chlamydia. I'm telling you somebody might be already thinking about it. And just make sure, you're being safe. Be safe with yourself, especially if there's a lot of people there. And, I'm hearing for some of y'all, you're just having a really good time, and it's like with somebody that you really trust to do that with. And so, if that's the case, I have nothing else to say. Just, do you. Just be careful, okay? So, yeah, back on this. Calling in your soulmate. All right, Aries. Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. You, like everyone, have soulmates. These are people with whom you've shared a time in heaven and in other lives. You made a soul agreement to meet in this lifetime for the purpose of mutual spiritual growth. You have many such agreements with various people who are all your soulmates. They include friends, family members, co-workers, and romantic partners. This card guides you to actively call your romantic soulmate into your life. You can do so through prayer, affirmations, and visualizations. It also means working on yourself so that you epitomize the qualities you're seeking in a partner. For instance, if you desire a significant other who's got a great sense of humor, develop this within yourself. Like attracts like, which is part of your calling, and part of you calling in your soulmate. And again, that could also just be about that dream job or whatever it is that you've been devoting your heart to. And you know what, Aries? I don't feel like I'm getting a whole lot of other messages right now. I think I might have exhausted these readings, especially at the beginning, if you didn't catch all that. So I'm going to seal this one up on a prayer for you with the advice from Archangel Michael to explore your options, because I'm hearing you got some good ones. Pick the one that serves you the best. Dear God, thank you for your wisdom and love, helping me see, understand, and assess all of my alternative options. Please guide me in your best direction for my health, my happiness, and my life's purpose. Amen. All right, Aries, that's what I got for you. Hope you liked it. Thumbs up if you did. Share, subscribe, drop me a comment. If you want somebody to hook you up with a prayer, it's prayer@fatheroftribes.com. And I'm doing personals, artoflove.me. So if I don't hear from you, take care, God bless, and I will see you again when I'm back for October. Gonna hit the pause, move my chi, run to the little boys' room, and then we're gonna pick it up at Sagittarius and wrap it up with Leo. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear up Aries cards now and just light that Terra Healing Incense. And then we are going to jump into Sag. Hey Sagittarius, how you doing? Happy mid-month of September. Jeez, I can't believe it. This year is just going by so fast. There were a lot of messages that came up when I was just like shuffling for fire tribes, and it took me days just to finish the first 2 tribe element videos, and I still am like getting through fire, and I still have like air element videos to do. Just feels like lots going on, and I don't know if you caught the beginning. It was pretty long, but there seemed to be a lot of messages that were coming through, and so I'll just mention it because some of y'all might be interested in going back and seeing that for this mid-month. There might be some stories in there for you because some were pretty specific. So just saying that, and without further ado, I'm going to go and flip your cards. Wow. Okay, so you might want to watch the Aries video too. There's a lot of, it seems like the story picks up here in some cases, and so in some cases y'all might have Aries influence in your chart or in your world. If you don't have Aries element yourself, you know, it just might be, you know, somebody else in your world that, you know, maybe you don't know they're in Aries. They could, you know, have Aries in their moon or rising if it's not their sun. But they actually got the Prince card for their archetype for the second half of the month, and y'all got the King. Prince goes to King or Queen, right? Princess, Queen. I don't do the gender thing too much. I think that can be kind of tricky and sticky for people. So this is not making an implication on your own gender or how you identify. This is just saying that the archetype, so the sway of energy that most people would, you know, associate with this kingly individual, is kind of like what your context is for the second half of the month. So that could be like the way things around you seem, or how you're tempted to act. And so on that note, I'm going to read to you what the card says. Light attributes: enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. Shadow attributes: excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. So that's sort of like how situations might tend to wobble around you for the second half of the month, and also maybe even like how you're feeling. So I'm hearing some of y'all got a freaking promotion, and that it's just like, or that you've been really working for it and you're waiting to hear back on it. And so it depends on which Sagittarius you are, but some of y'all really have, I've been being told that if you haven't heard back yet, that, you know, now is just like a really good time to keep like being patient. Don't come unglued, you know, take time to do what you need to do, because it's like, it's going to come together. And so they just told me to jump to your tip from Archangel Michael. Favorable outcome on the way. So, you know, if that's you and you're waiting and stuff, they're just saying it's like it's supposed to work out. Keep in mind, Mercury's in retrograde, information comes slow, and, you know, sometimes it can make us really like want to just like, I'm just like seeing somebody like freaking out, like, oh my god, you know. And that's maybe why this energy is showing up in your physical material realm, using the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck as the reversed Four of Pentacles. And I have to say, Aries actually got that same energy expressed in their mental sector card, so with, you know, a different deck. And so you might have Aries in your chart, or an Aries person around you, or maybe just something that feels like that. But somebody is like going for like a major like upgrade is what I'm hearing, and your guides are saying you gotta hold it together a little longer, be patient, love yourself first. Good stuff on the way. So just jump through those pretty fast. We'll take time to break them all down a little bit, but, you know, if you're feeling anxiety, I'm hearing a lot of y'all are just anxious. They're showing me that Hanged Man again. I was seeing the Hanged Man, Hanged Woman, hanged other person. Like, suspended, you know? Maybe you got suspended at work while you were waiting for something good to happen. And you're frustrated. They're saying it can really work out, though, if that's the case. And that, you know, I think that if this is like a situation where you like know your employer, they're just saying that the rapport is really good and they already know like what you've done. They said that you've really helped it grow, like the company. And so you can like let it go a little bit, because I think they're actually going to give you a second chance, is what I heard. They said your boss might have had a crush on you too. Okay, that might be really specific. Let's go ahead and jump into the book here and see what the archetype of king says. So I could just spend all day going off on these tangents, and I'll just put it out there. If you're somebody that, you know, if I hit your funny bone on any of these and you're like, oh my god, that sounded like my reading, why didn't you finish it? Just hit me up on my website, okay? I'd love to do a personal for you. Alright, king. Sagittarius. We've got 4 bullet points, or no, 4 keywords, 3 bullet points and a tip. So, king, emperor, ruler, leader, chief. First bullet point, represents temporal male power and authority associated with both benevolence and cruelty. It says male here. Most people associate king with a male person. It's not saying that a woman can't do this. It's talking in black and whites here. So please use whatever gender identity makes most sense in your world if this is speaking to a person, okay? Second one says, emperor can rise from common society like Napoleon, but the king is usually born to it. And they're telling me to say Aries again, because emperor is in this description twice, I'm seeing. And the emperor card, as an archetype, is often symbolized as an Aries person. You'll see ram's heads all over those depictions if you reference the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And it's a 4, just like this 4 that showed up in your physical material realm, reversed, ill-dignified, if you will. And it's also the same 4 that was depicted in the deck that I use for the mental realm, but the same card in the Aries reading. So you might just want to read that one. Just go under, you know, this video and click on their chapter if you need. But emperors come up twice. So the Shadow King is the last bullet point that's here in the book, and it says the Shadow King resists criticism, questioning, and challenges to his absolute power. And then they've given us a tip here. It says, look for a lifelong need to rule and exert control over a kingdom, whether a corporation, community, or family. So they're just saying don't hold on too tight in some cases, because some of y'all might just be like having some fear about whatever happened, and they're just saying, you know, it's something that's being attended to in a way that should work out favorably for most of y'all, at least. That's what Archangel Michael's saying. So breathe if you need to. Sharpen your cards. Romance angels are saying love yourself first. So even if that's not like a romantic implication, what I'm getting here is that, you know, if this is you and you're just like unhappy about a situation, it's taking too long, you know, somebody's withholding or whatever, they're saying be patient, and that the key is to make sure that you're doing that, okay? So just jumping on the physical material realm card again, you know, if this isn't you, this could just be the way situations are happening or feeling in your world. It could also be a person. Since it's Pentacle card, that's going to be symbolized by individuals that have strong earth element. So you might have an earth tribe person that you're dealing with. It might have sun, moon, rising, and, you know, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, or kind of have that sort of steady, steadfast, you know, reliable, practical, dependable, and very loving, nurturing energy about them. And maybe they're just not really freaking happy right now. You know, they might not be happy with you. You know, maybe they're having a hard time keeping patience with you. Maybe that's what this is about. Maybe it's like somebody that's just like not happy with the way things are growing with you, and you know, they're just like maybe trying to like dominate you and control you. And I'm hearing with some people it's like controlling you with information. I'm hearing in some situations somebody has like a tidbit on you and you're really freaking like not happy about how it might come out. And so this is just like you having like really bad nerves, and like I'm hearing stomach problems, like it's affecting your GI tract, and they say you need to be really careful because you might have like, I'm just hearing malabsorption, and that it's really like it's excessive. It's like controlling your emotions, and it's making you feel kind of reckless, because like normally like this energy here, when it's showing upright, this is really grounded. Some people call it the miser penny pincher card, and everything is this person's like tackling their coin. They're like, oh, mine, bah, you ain't getting it, you know. But at the same time too, it's like it's not always like that. It's somebody that's just like considerate of what those things represent, and they're taking care, tending to it. Like I'm not seeing it so like exacerbated here. I'm just gonna say he, she, they, other, that person there is like kind of proud. You know, they're like showcasing what it is they have. You know, they're wearing it nice, and you know, they've got nice shoes, nice jewelry. You know, I'm seeing somebody with like nice rings and real nice house. You know, and in some cases maybe they're just doing like a renovation that kind of has like turned upside down, and they're just trying to be patient with it too. You know, they're upgrading the house is what I'm hearing. It costs a lot of money. You know, they put a lot of money into it, and maybe they're just kind of like going over their finances this month, and that's what, you know, the patience is, and they're just kind of counting their money is what I'm seeing too. So, you know, it can be a lot of things. It just depends on, you know, which Sagittarius you are. That could also be, you know, inverted story with other people in your world. But, you know, this could also just be if it's your job, you know, and how you're making all those coins. It's like uncertainty around it. And I'm hearing somebody did make a mistake with something. They said something about counting a till and maybe an idea about like where the money was going. And I'm actually hearing somebody was embezzling from your company is really what happened. And that for some reason they were looking at you for answers. I don't know if they were looking at you like with suspicion or not. But I'm hearing that somebody did actually take it that way. And they're just saying that, you know, it wasn't a personal attack, you know, and so like don't feel like they love you any less. It's like, you know, they had to ask the questions, and maybe you were in a position of authority. And I'm actually hearing for some of y'all something about that situation might have actually precipitated or be the precipitant to the event that is why you are being kinged. So have a little patience. Give yourself some love. And hang on to your faith, because something good's happening here, okay, Sag? And if you're having, like, I'm just hearing weird emotion stuff causing havoc in your body that maybe you're not aware of, and it's, like, depleting your nutrients. They just keep showing me, like, nutrients, like, shooting off, and it's like you might have something. I hear malabsorption, so you know, talk to whatever authority makes the most sense in this situation in your world and get some help, because I'm being told that there's actually, you know, you can really benefit from going to that person, whether it's like a doctor or a nutritionist. I'm hearing a nutritionist, and that for some of y'all it's actually leaky gut, you know, and a lot of you probably don't even realize this, but like leaky gut, like 80% of people I'm hearing, I don't know how they quantify this shit, but you know, 80% of people have it, and some people it's just for stress reasons. And so do not be eating under stressful situations. If you have to put yourself in like an incubated environment, even where you just take yourself into a different state, if you will, of awareness when you're consuming your nutrients, it's really going to help, and you're worth it. Don't like, you know, just feel like, oh, I'm just okay. Because, like, I'm just seeing, like, somebody getting really ticked off and just being, like, kind of, like, prissy about it. Sorry. Just freaking prissy and just, like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And okay. Looks can be deceiving, my darling. And sometimes, the things that are inside are aching and they're causing havoc that you don't see the direct correlation for. And that's why you need to go seek out the king, the enlightened, benevolent one that can help benefit those in their charge, because that's how I'm taking that. It's like you need to really go see the authority on this. And, give yourself a little patience and love, and make sure if you're, like, eating really good, like, nutrition, that it's not just, like, not going where it needs to go, because it's like it's causing foundational concern issues in your physical material realm, which could have an implication on your temporal body and your form. Okay, so I just have to say that. And they're saying that's actually the loving thing to do, and that for you, that's what that means. So this might not have any sort of direct correlation in romance with others. It's literally saying love yourself first, and that you're worth the patience. I'm going to jump into that patience card real quick using the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck book. This is actually a major arcana. If you were in the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck book, tarot deck rather, you would be dealing with the Temperance card. And sometimes that's the temper tantrum card. That's the person that's got ants in their pants. And that's why really big angel showed up and was like, okay, we're going to cool some jets here. We're going to, try to mix these opposing force energies in a loving fashion to hold it together. And that's what this card is echoing here. It's just a different representation in this deck. And here you actually just see, I think Virgo got this card too. It was either Virgo or Taurus, or you might have Virgo or Taurus in your chart too. But check out the Earth Tribe video if that's the case, because they actually got the same card. Tending to something and really having to keep their patience right now, because they found something, I've heard in some cases, that they just want to, like, grab onto, and they're so excited and happy, and it's like, oh my god, my king is here, and what do I do with it? It's like a radical change, because that 14 reduces to a 5, and 5 can be really kind of, it's a challenge. I see somebody doing, like, a cartwheel, and trying to get somewhere, but it's like, it's sort of like an obstacle course. And so they're saying patience, Sag. This card signifies the need for patience, self-control, adjustment, moderation, and balance when dealing with others, as well as yourself. This could be in the areas of how you think and work, and how you deal with school, recreation, the people in your life, or the spiritual path that's set before you. As a soul, you have more than one aspect of yourself to draw on for support. It's all about integration and learning to blend and balance both the physical and the spiritual. You're an ethereal being in a physical body enjoying a human experience. Therefore, since you're both, you should honor all of you. If you go through life denying yourself the joy of combining these aspects, you're missing out on so much of what the world has to offer. Why accept a life that's half-lived? The Patience card reminds you to open your heart and mind and allow yourself to listen to other people's ideas, thoughts, and perspectives. Blissful harmony can be achieved when everyone learns to work as one. All benefit. Listening, sharing, and reaching out will help you renew your faith in yourself and humankind. You'll become more aware of the miracles around you, as well as the ones that you have a hand in creating. Traditional tarot archetype, Temperance. And so, yeah, they're just saying, it's about being open. See, this person's got their hand open. They're being patient, watching that little thing grow in a place where nobody thought anything could grow. Who could grow anything out of their hand like that? Maybe just somebody that was really patient. And maybe they're just feeling impatient here, too. Maybe that's why it's like this. And they're just kind of like, is it going to happen? Do I still believe in it? But they're saying just don't hold on too tight to that, because like what you've been doing is actually working. And you might just be your own worst critic right now. And so, I think that's what this is a cautionary note to you. Just to be loving to yourself, be open to that, and realize that things might feel cramped and weird and everything because of Mercury just making it slower. And it can be the pits. So, You know, if that's the case, just find what you need to do to weather the storm. You know, go do something that makes you feel really good, takes your mind off of it. You know, I heard some of y'all have like a garden or something, and you know, it just helps you take your mind to like a different place. And so, you know, work on the things that you are cultivating that give you that sense of love and everything, because really, all you got to do is weather the storm until the outcome comes. But they're saying it's forthcoming, so let's figure out how you can love yourself first, and maybe a little better. And if this is about a relationship, I'm just hearing for some of y'all, it's like, before I jump in here, it's just kind of having to adjust to some frustration, because it's like you thought you found someone, and you know, you just had a lot riding on it, and something got kind of flipped. Like, it just didn't happen, is what I'm hearing. And so they're just saying right now, like, the best thing that you can do is just really make sure that, especially right now, a lot of people don't want to like jump to doing things, you know, if they're aware of what's happening with Mercury retrograde. And so sometimes, you know, they're just taking the time to evaluate their own needs and like what it is they want. And this is just a good time to do it, because, you know, what you don't want to be doing is just like holding on too hard to the past about something that didn't work, because it's just going to make you feel really frustrated, and you're going to find yourself like needing more patience. And it could just be like a lot of just churning, you know, useless churning is what I'm hearing. And they're just saying that, you know, you kind of already know what to do to like, you know, give yourself an okay time while you're hanging in there. And that honestly, I'm hearing for some people, it's like that person's like coming. I actually heard some of y'all are in for a reconciliation, and that like really what this had to do with was like you, or both of you even, just needing to get kind of real about some stuff that hadn't really been made real enough for you yet. And so sometimes we go through like the seesaw bullshit, and you know, you don't know what something means until it's like, you know, now it's not there, and it's like, oh shit, you know, I hadn't even really learned to adjust to what it felt like to have that in my world, because it was not there before. And it's like, now that it's gone, it's like kind of want it back. And so sometimes that's all this is. Maybe it's not like a harsh grab, it's like somebody just kind of like, I want that back, you know, I want to bring that back into my world. And just like, you know, thinking about what that was like and when it came together. And so, you know, once you have that point of awareness and clarity, often what it does is it gives you an opportunity, you know, once it's there and back, you know, to like, now it's like, okay, you have the sensitive place. And so in a time like Mercury retrograde, when, you know, you might be analyzing this, because a lot of things just come back into our mind. It's just how the energy works. You know, it's like, it's just telling you that you're doing a good job by focusing on that, because you didn't know about it before. You didn't know something could grow from that barren freaking place. It's amazing. It blew your mind. And so like now you're like, okay, I got to put a little love into this thing. You know, I got to put some love into that thing. I want that. I want that. And so this is like you wanting to turn that energy around. It kind of looks like that's what they're doing, right? The way they're holding that coin anyway. And maybe that's how this happens, you know, this kingly upgrade, because, you know, this person's standing upright with a coin. How about that being your outcome, you know, saying that you can turn that to here, you know? And so it's really, they're saying that's the key. It's in your hand, and it's really just about doing that. And if you were waiting for somebody to come back, I'm just hearing, you know, I don't like telling people to put their eggs in those baskets and to like have an attachment to that outcome. I also can say that sometimes that's what happens. And I can also say that sometimes when it does, it's changed a little bit. It's not going to look the same that it did before, because now you're in a different place. Maybe you weren't the king before. Maybe you were this character that was upside down. And since you loved yourself better and you're here, maybe by the time the reconciliation comes by, you know, that's a good thing. That's a favorable outcome. And maybe you have other decisions to make at that time too. So don't attach too much to any outcome, is what I'm being told. Love yourself first. Let's see what the Doreen Virtues Romance Angels Oracle deck book says about this card for you. All right, Sagittarius. Love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. If you desire more romance, first look at yourself in a caring and non-critical way, of course. The more you love who you are, the greater your capacity to feel loved by others. This means trusting yourself to take good care of you. And it may entail becoming more assertive. Don't worry, you can still be very lovable while affirming your boundaries. Perhaps this means spending some time alone instead of in a relationship. During this period, you can delve into introspection to understand the patterns of your love life. Ultimately, you can take responsibility for attracting and agreeing to every relationship you've had to heal your heart, find the blessings and lessons you've gained from each one. For instance, you have become stronger, more independent, or more patient as a result. For instance, have you become stronger, more independent, or more patient as a result of your prior partnerships? If so, let everything else from the past go except for the lessons in love. Easier said than done, I know, but I think that's why they're saying have patience and be open. So, this card emphasizes the importance of loving yourself first, especially if you are preparing for your next relationship or healing from the one you're in. As you gain self-respect, you'll begin attracting more loving people into your life, and this will lead to healthy friendships and romances based upon mutual respect. I don't have a whole lot more to say about that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and they're just saying this is... If you needed a reason why, other than you're just freaking worth it, Sagittarius... Let me say it again, because you didn't see me. If you need another reason why, other than that you're already worth it, maybe that'll tickle your funny bone. Give yourself what you need. Be good to yourself. We're going to wrap this one up on your prayer with this advice from Archangel Michael that a favorable outcome is forthcoming. Dear Archangel Michael, thank you for the beautiful outcome to this situation, which is perfect and fair for everyone involved. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for helping me trust and have faith. Amen. All right, Saggy, that's what I got for you. Hope it made sense. Hope you liked it. If you did, let me know how it hit you. Thumbs up, share, subscribe, tell a friend. And, you know, if you want somebody to pray, hit me up. prayer@fatheroftribes.com. And if you liked the reading, especially if there was anything that kind of was like going into your world and you just want to take another look or just give me a shot at taking a look at something else, feel free to hit me up on my blog. It's www.artoflove.me, and I'd love to do that for you. So take care, God bless. And I'm just going to clear up here a little bit more. Tarot Healing Incense is still going. I'm going to light a little bit of sage, and we're going to wrap it all up on Leo. Okay, be right back. What's up, Leo? How you doing? Happy mid-month of September to you. I was actually told to light the Terra Healing Incense for you too. I had one that was going out, so there's actually 2 burning right now. So they said, we need that. So I have done that. There's also some sage burning. And I'm just going to say the message again. These Fire Tribe videos went really long. There were a lot of, like, specific messages that came up when I was doing the shuffle and kind of just connecting to y'all before I got into the specific tribes, and you might want to check it out. I don't know. It's taken me days to like be able to do your reading. It was just a lot of energy is what it seems like, and I've had to stop quite a bit and like get up and like reframe and like make sure I was staying also clear, because there were so many messages that I was trying to at least give like compartmentalized versions of what was coming up for different people. And anyway, just you might want to check it out. There's definitely a dialogue going with fire and water right now. I did the water tribes yesterday, so you might want to check those out too. So I'm going to go ahead and flip your cards and we'll see what the rest of the month looks like for you. All right. There's a lot going on with like this king energy, and I'm hearing something about the king and like overthrown or overturned, dethroned king. I don't know. There's a lot coming up with the king and like prince to king and like the plans of attaining something that's coming up really strong for the fire tribes. You all have it. So if you have other fire element, you might want to just like watch the video. So if you just want to click around too, if you go under the video here and into the description box and click show more, I actually tab the chapters, so there's like hyperlinks you can just flip around. But you're pulling king energy here too. There's a lot of king coming up here, Leo, and this is actually the king that's showing up in the physical material realm, and I'm being told for a lot of y'all that's you. And it's also just a really strong archetype that's just coming up a lot with the fire tribe. So they're telling me that some of y'all are like really in need of some heart healing that you don't realize you've actually been engineering just because of how well you've been tending to your life. So let me just put that out there first and foremost. An engineer is actually the energy that's showing up for your archetype, and that's a challenge energy. A lot of times that's how things are going to feel around us, Leo. It's also how we might be tending to sort of like put ourselves forward with the way that we address life and situations. And so that's the image. And I'm hearing enlightened soul. So some of y'all, I think that this is just like you've been working really hard and don't realize how much you've done and might be kind of holding yourself back with your mind a little bit. Let's see what the card says. Light attributes. Ability to give creative energy a practical expression. Talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. Shadow attribute. Reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. So they're saying you're going to know if it's you or if that's like how things are feeling around you, but both can be true. Sometimes they happen at the same time. Let's see what the book says about it. If you're not familiar with my channel, because I hear I'm getting some new Leos right now. Thank you for being here. I used this deck, Carolyn Mace's archetype cards, for this context or challenge style energy. Here's what the book says. They've actually given us some keywords, 3 bullet points, and a tip to keep in mind, Leo. Bullet points. Actually, let's start with those keywords. Engineer, architect, builder, designer, schemer. Bullet point 1. Grounded, orderly, strategic qualities give creative energy a practical expression. Second bullet point. Talent for engineering everyday situations or designing solutions to common dilemmas. And the last one says, shadow engineer manifest as a master manipulator designing situations to one's own advantage regardless of the needs of others. Look for a pattern of designing and building structures, devices, or solutions. Wow, I'm hearing somebody like set somebody up at work. Holy shit. Okay, so this might be the deal. I was getting something with Aries about this too. Maybe you're dealing with an Aries person, and I don't know if it was you or them, but somebody almost lost their job or might have lost their job for like some kind of embezzling thing, and that they might have like made it look like it was somebody else, and that's maybe what the engineering situation is. They're saying watch your fucking back. You might want another job or to like get rid of some people. I'm going through these really fast right now, I know, but sometimes the messages just jump, and I'm sorry. I'll spend more time with each of them, but they're saying choose wisely. It's on your mind there, Leo. Choose wisely. They said you've got like some good guidance, but you've also had like a really shitty friend, I'm hearing. Somebody that gave you bad advice. Wow, I'm hearing that relationship was fucked up. I'm sorry. Saying now's a good time to clear your energy, and also like try to clear your name from that person, because that idea that they had was actually to make them look better. I heard they were trying to get their ex back, and that you were like good window dressing. That's what they said, window dressing. Interesting. But yes, that person is being dethroned if they haven't been already. They're saying now's a good time to kick them to the curb. You're going to know if that applies to you. I'm not giving any advice. I'm reading some of the stories that come up. And, you know, let me just make a note, because if you are new, I heard there's a lot of new Leos that might be here. So, or, you know, people that have just the tribal element somewhere in their constitution. It could be your sun, your moon, your rising, or you could just act like this. It doesn't have to be that you're actually a Leo. But anyway, I'm being told that this situation is definitely something that served a purpose. They're saying it was karmic, and that part of this was, you know, if you haven't seen it yet, because for some of y'all this was like a really unhappy thing. It's like, it's just kind of had you feeling like really isolated, and you know, I'm hearing that it's like a lot of people look at you like you have all the answers and stuff, but it's been like you haven't had time to even figure out who's really with you, and like, you know, which ones are actually like just going behind your back, and sort of, I'm hearing just like leveraging. Like they're showing me like leveraging, like somebody like behind your back, like literally trying to like take you from here to here. And I'm not going to get too much into that. I'm seeing somebody's whole story like flash before me right now, and I can't just hang up there. Your guides really want you to take your time, though, is what I'm going to say with this. And they're saying they're not giving you a lot of time. Like, time's coming up a lot. I'm hearing divine timing, divine timing. Sevens a lot of times are that, you know, you might have a lot of 7 mojo. You might only have 7 days to make a decision. I heard they want to just like send you. Look, I'm not going to dumb anything down or pretend like I have all your answers here. I'm just going to tell you that if that is saying something to you, that combination right there, something about releasing something and knowing that something from here, from these options that everybody thinks you're like so happy about, something needs to go. They're saying you need to cut some shit off. And you know what? I'm just being told, go freaking meditate, dude. Or, I'm sorry. They're showing me a man. Okay. somebody that I would identify as a man. I'm not saying that's how you identify. Okay, I know plenty of people that were born with XY chromosomes that identify as females, so if I misgendered you, please, mea culpa, accept my apology, darling. Just choose wisely. Okay, and that person sitting alone on the dock near the water, thinking about it, like having a namaste space moment, and they're saying that might be a key for you here. Spend some time outdoors, Leo. Make a good decision for yourself. The one that feels grounded too, that's how you're going to know which one to pick, because it's like some of the shit's making you feel ungrounded, man. Like, I feel really impatient right now, and I feel like somebody is like trying to like come for me. And if that's you, it's like, I'm going to pray for you, right? You can hit me up for a personal prayer if you want to. I don't charge for any of that shit, you know? That's like stuff I just do. So it's prayer@fatheroftribes.com if you want. All my information's below. Take your time. And you know what? I'm being told you have a lot more power in this than you want. They're saying that there's some contracts, but they might not have been written too good, because this might be the same person that's trying to fuck you up. And I think that's what's going on here. You're like looking at this paperwork and you're like, well, what the fuck did I sign? And I'm seeing somebody doing that. But I'm being told that there's somebody that you know perhaps, or maybe you don't realize it, that gets into nuances and sometimes just has lucky information come to them somehow, fortuitously. You know who they are. And that's the person who's going to remind you that you have a lot more power and you don't have to come off that throne. But somebody needs to get ejected from whatever cockpit they're sitting in, because they're sucking. They're sucking like energy from you, is what I'm hearing. So if that makes sense to you, do something about it. Take your time. And don't... Oh, here's the important thing. I'm being told that something about that contract wasn't even good. Like, if they're putting, like, pressure on you, and this is more of a... I can't sound like I'm speaking in so much absolutes for all of you. This might be a small group of people's message that needs to hear it. This is not the situation about the house, is what I'm being told. I'm actually being told somebody is being foreclosed on in like 7 days and they need to find a place to live. And that's a totally different situation. This situation is about your power and authority in the job that you have cultivated for yourself and the throne that you actually put yourself on. Because I'm being told that this... You weren't born into it. Some people like to act like that, but you actually worked for it. You engineered it. And there's a bad contract, and they're trying to make you make a decision in like 7 days, I'm being told, for somebody. And I'm being told they don't have as much power as they think they do in that contract, and you might want to get somebody really smart to take a second look at that. Because whoever gave you that contract... I'm hearing they were maneuvering, possibly. Or helping someone maneuver. I don't know. Can't be true for everybody, but they're saying you have more power than you think. And so work on your solar plexus. A lot of call for the yellow right now. Do what you need to do. Get outside. Spend some time outdoors if you can. If you've got a beach around you, you know, go sit with the water. And I'm being told you might have a really good friend that you just like have like this really good flowing kind of communication. And they keep it light. They have a way of like dropping the heavy knowledge on you in a way that is accessible, and it kind of like works into your flow. And so if you have a flow partner that's like there, go for a walk, you know, or whatever it is that y'all do that's healthy. You know, I'm seeing like healthy outdoor stuff. And they're just saying like, you know, I mean, you might sometimes do it over drinks. Don't do it over drinks this time. Do it over lucid thinking. Enough people are acting like they're like half cracked on the cuckoo Kool-Aid right now because of Mercury being in retrograde. It's not gonna be you. Okay, Leo, you're the smart guy, you're the engineer. You're the smart girl, you're the engineer. You're the smart other, you're the engineer. Okay, so I read the book on that archetype, and here's the thing too. If this isn't anything to do about like your job, if that's not you, this might be an earth sign, right? So if you're dealing with somebody that's got like earth element, you might want to check out the Earth Tribes videos. And it could also just be like about just ascending to the next level and like trying to figure out the next way to go there. And I'm hearing for somebody, it's just they have too many constraints. It's like too many time constraints. Overcommitted. I'm hearing overcommitted. And I'm hearing that you have like somebody really clingy that knows how to just like get their like hand in there and just like pull on your heart and just drain whatever extra energy. No, they just edited me. They said it's not extra energy. They said you didn't have energy in the first place because you're not being able to stay focused on the things that you want, because it's like you're being pulled in so many directions. So if that's you, they're just saying something needs to get cut. And so, it might be an ex. For somebody, I know it really is. They're saying that, this person, he, she, they, whoever it is, might just know how to kind of like work it. I'm hearing they know how to like work the system. It's like they just know it so well that they kind of like, it's covert, they just, and it's not always like they're trying to be sneaky and shady, but it's like they just know how to wiggle their way in there. And in some cases it's because they've been in your life a really long time. So a lot of times when like a king energy shows up, it's just like a situation that's had time to get to that point. It's taken a long time. Not everybody just comes out a king, and even when they do, they have to like kind of take their time before they just make them a king. So how long does that take? It takes a while. It takes time. So, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. That can actually wait. But if it is, a person, you might be interested in taking a look at some of the videos that I did yesterday for Earth Tribes. So, Earth Tribe videos that I make, at least, are for people that might have just a strong sway of Earth element in their constitution. So it's generally going to be your, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn style person, or somebody that acts like that. And if that's not the case, it could just be the way a situation's playing out in your life. And I'm hearing for somebody, it's really just about a job, either feeling unfulfilled, or it's like, you finally got there, and it's like not all that it's cracked up to be. It's like, you're just kind of like, wow, is this all I get? I'm like, how many hands does one man have? How many hands can a woman have? I don't know, but this person's got a lot of different hands going different directions, and they're just saying it's like, it's pretty freaking exhausting. And so I was seeing a lot of stuff with the Hangman with Earth Tribes when I was just doing the shuffle before, and I'm kind of getting it again. And they're just saying part of this is like just a real need to go in and go within and just become enlightened. And so like I'm being drawn to this person's head up here, that enlightened stuff. And I was seeing a lot of that again, like with like the hanged person, hanged man, hanged woman, and just like a need to reevaluate the situation. And so I think that that's really what you're doing right now here, Leo. Let me see what the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck book says about 7 Choose Wisely, aka 7 of Cups. It's a Cups card. It can be a little delusional sometimes, and it's not saying that you are. It's just saying that the energy lends itself to conditions that might present themselves in a way that seem less than grounded, and that also are pulling on the stuff that like makes your heart wail in good or bad or other ways. And so I'm not going to quantify that for you, but whatever it is, if you're being pulled at, it's like, how much can one person take, right? And so if you're going in like different directions, and especially if it's like you only have so much time to act, you can't do everything, right? You can't give from an empty well. And maybe that's why if you're like the king, you're not like feeling like it, because there's only so much to go around, right? We're the queen, the other that ascended to the throne. See what the book says about your mental sector card. 7 of Cups, aka Choose Wisely, in the John Highland's Psychic Tarot Oracle deck book. This card comes forth when you have a vision or goal that you want to achieve, but too many choices, scattered energies, and unrealistic expectations prevent you from attaining what you desire. Opportunities are bountiful, but there's a decision to be made at this time, and this card reminds you that the options now around you may appear to have all the influence and power. It's not true, is what I'm being told. You have the power. Don't let that shit get in your head, Leo. You have a lot of power. Maybe not all the power you want, but you got more than you think. In reality, you're in control and responsible for all the choices you make. Take the time to think, analyze, and carefully look at different possibilities that are in front of you. Don't be hasty just because you feel pressured. Don't be influenced by people who have no idea, expertise, or education in the area of your choices. A focused, wise decision far outweighs one made emotionally or in depression. Oh, okay. I remember. You might want to check out the readings for the beginning of the month, Leo. I think I was reading for you. Some of y'all had something similar. I'm remembering it right now. It's probably in my book because I have OCD and I write these things down. And what they were saying was that somebody hired a shitty attorney. I'm sorry if I have to say it, especially if it's your family member, because I was hearing the word nepotism, and now I'm hearing jealousy and dethroned, and that somebody you thought was on your side might not have just been an incompetent attorney, it might have actually been some bullshit. Business manager, is what I heard. Whoa. They're saying get rid of him. Actually, they're saying you might want to get somebody to go through some phone calls or recordings you had, because they were actually saying some of this is prosecutable. I hear that it had something to do with your intellectual property and that they had nothing to do with it. Wow. Yeah, I'm hearing you want to let them have it, and you're actually being really classy about it. Somebody is being really classy about it. You're going to know if it's you or not. But they're just saying you have a good friend that respects your space, that you can actually talk freely with, and maybe there's like a privilege sort of situation there. I do have to say, though, if it's like a legal situation where you're not sure if the person's competent, they might not be. Maybe that's what this is about, right? It doesn't have to be like sinister. You know, it just depends on, there's so many of you, you know, can't be the same for everybody. So you're going to know if it's for you or not, and if you want me to look deeper, I can. There's other psychics that can do this too, I'm sure. But they're just saying don't put too much faith in somebody just because of like a false sense of allegiance, like due to nepotism, like it being like your uncle or your cousin or your brother or your sister or your mother or your friend or somebody, just because you know them, because it might actually be a really shitty contract. And I'm actually being told for some of y'all, well, they're actually saying for somebody that maybe the loophole they were looking for in the 7-day window might be because of the incompetent attorney. So, look, use your own best discernment and judgment. I'm not telling you what to do other than to self-inquire in a loving way. You can quote me on that. So, choose wisely. And just another little tip here. They're saying it might be, you know, water tribe. So you might be dealing with, you know, water tribe person that you can trust. They might have a strong water in their element. Could be somebody sun, moon, rising, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, perhaps. Shoot, it could even be because you're like watching my video and I have a lot of 7 magic and I'm a Cancer rising. So, and I have a Leo moon, so I might be picking up a lot for you, and maybe that's me showing up, you know. So it could be a lot of things. Let's see what the Release Your Ex card says here. Taurine Virtues, Romance Angels, Oracle deck. Doesn't have to be romantic. But I did see very clearly for somebody, it's like literally your ex, and they're just saying like, oh, drama for your mama, and that, some of it is like definitely put on. But there's actually a good part of it that's just like, they don't really know how to act. You know, I'm just hearing, like, spoiled brat, and that it's, like, they're really sweet. It's, that part's not an act. It's, like, they're really loving. It's just, like, how they were brought up. I'm hearing it's, like, they said daddy's girl. And that he likes to keep her under his thumb, and that, like, you know, he kind of, like, tells her what to do, and has, like, engineered her life, and that he's just really freaking controlling. And honestly, well, you'll know if this one's for you or not, but there's something along those lines where they're saying that the one that's being controlled, he, she, they, the child, is actually, like, ready to just cut and run. Wow. And that's what this is. That it's actually, like, if that's your romantic partner, that I'm just going to see she, might not be, you know, they, other, he. That person is, like, really feeling pretty anguished, and maybe that's what's pulling on you a lot. It's because, like, this is, like, their parent or, like, their dad, you know, and it's, like, they feel, like, oppressed by the situation, and you're, like, they're like, come on, babe, we can do it. You know, I got a plan. You know, I got a really good job. You know, things aren't that dark. I know I got a handle on this situation, and, you know, I know where to go. You know, we can make it work. We can make it work. And so I'm, like, hearing that there might be a situation like that. And it's just, like, she doesn't mean to be bratty. It's, like, she doesn't know how to be any other way. It's, like, her dad, like, sent her somewhere and, like, told her that's how her life was going to be, and she believed it. And it's like, she sees you, and it's like, y'all are those birds right there, you know, in her mind, I'm being told, and, or their mind, it could be him, you know, it doesn't have to be one person. I'm speaking of one story I'm seeing that might trickle into other people's lives, so please forgive me and use, you know, what makes sense. So I'm just hearing that whoever it is, it's like the hope they were not sure they could even have, and I'm being told it's like a cultural thing. It was like they were told it had to be this one way, and it's like they were sort of like almost like a black sheep. Like, I'm just hearing they kind of like covered up some of what those feelings were and didn't really feel like they could, because it was like sort of just an overbearing parental situation that they grew up under, you know. And I don't think the parents are like that douchey. Like, I don't know, one of them seems pretty, like, I don't know, vicious, but the other one I think has like a really good sense of what a good life might look like to them, and so they've taken really careful steps, like trying to architect things for their children. And, you know, somebody's really close to that parent and, like, not really knowing how to release themselves in the direction that their heart's really pulling them, is what I'm being told. And it's, like, on their mind a lot. So, and it might be on your mind a lot, too, if that's actually your partner, you know, and you're just kind of, like, there, like, pointing to the light direction where you're both already flying, right? And so, let's see what the book says on Release Your Ex. The time has come to clear your energy, Leo. You drew this card because your love will improve once your love life will improve once you emotionally and energetically release your ex-lover. The benefits of doing so include increased happiness, feelings of freedom, and the ability to attract a new lover who would otherwise sense the presence of your ex in your aura. The moment you make the decision to let go of the past, it is done. Sometimes this is akin to peeling layers from the onion, so continue releasing your ex whenever old, familiar feelings arise or you find yourself attracting people reminiscent of them. As the painting on this card depicts, you may want to ceremonially burn a letter to release the old relationship energy and symbolically let go of old feelings, or you can call upon the romance angels to clear lingering attachments to your ex. So much good information there to follow up on. And they're also just saying, I was hearing meditate a lot before. They're saying going outdoors is going to be really good. You know, maybe there's like a dock or a pier or a place you'd like to go walk, or like sit near the beach, put your feet in the sand. They're just saying it's going to be really grounding for you right now, Leo. And this video has gone for freaking ever, so I'm just going to wrap this one up on the spend more time outdoors tip, seal it up with a prayer, and just bless you guys and girls and others. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be the one to help bring these messages to you. If there's something I can do to just like help lighten the load in a prayer kind of way, hit me up. Information's below. I'm also available for personals at artoflove.me. But for now, Archangel Michael says spend some time outdoors, and we're going to leave you with that. Leo. Dear God, thank you for motivating me to spend more time outdoors and for helping me relax and enjoy connecting with nature. Amen. Alright, Leo, that's what I got. I hope it made sense and you liked it. And if so, tell a friend, share, subscribe, hit a brother up with a thumbs up or a comment. I always appreciate it. I appreciate you.